Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Paul, and in this video we're breaking down What If. Episode 6 of Season 2 has a lot to unpack from it, and throughout this video we're going to be going through it all. In it we follow a brand new character created for the show who comes across a Tesseract and gets amazing powers. This is probably the most unique entry in the season, and I was surprised by how much the new character made her mark. Recently, there's been a big move in Hollywood to start telling the stories of American natives, and so far I've really enjoyed them. Prey was fantastic, and this one is too, with us getting some stuff in Echo coming next month. I got to see the first 2 episodes of that, and though I can't talk about it too much yet, they do lean in with a lot of ancient Native American history. Now, this episode was written by Ryan Little, who went above and beyond to make it culturally authentic.
Kahorri comes from what's known as the Mohawk people, and he consulted with language expert Cecilia King in order to nail the dialogue.
Little also worked with historian Doug George to ground this as close to reality as possible. Well, as close as it can get with magical powers and the Tesseract, but you know what I mean. Either way, from this point on, it's spoilers ahead, so if you don't want it ruined, then I recommend you turn off. Please hit the thumbs up button, and if you enjoy the breakdown, make sure you subscribe for videos like this every day. Without the way, huge thank you for clicking this. Now let's get into what if. Okay, so the entry starts off with us hearing the tale of Ragnarok and how in this universe it happened centuries prior. In the 616, or like the main universe, because Feige says it's the 616, but that's like the comic universe, mate. And then 2099 says it's Earth 19999, but I'm just going to start calling it the movie universe. Now in that, the Tesseract was hidden out in Tonesburg, which we saw in the first Avenger. However, here, Surtur arrived early. With him, he's brought doom to Asgard. Similar to how he destroyed it during Ragnarok, we see him plunging his sword directly into the land. The wild explosion also riffs off what happened in that film, with it wiping out the entire plane of Asgard. Now during the strike, we see Odin using the Tesseract to block it, and can catch him in his warrior garb. This is something he wore at the start of Thor, and they've clearly paid attention to how he looked there. This move then sends a Tesseract hurtling to Earth in a moment that feels like it's riffing off the start of Man of Steel. Either way, it lands in what would come to be upstate New York, which is known as the Akwesasne region. Sorry for butchering that, and yeah, gonna hold my hands up and say, I'm not up as much on the cultural aspects of this as I like to be. So if I get something wrong, or there's something I'd miss, I'd love it if you guys dropped it in the comments to point this stuff out. Now, Kahorri's going to be a big person in the show as well, as we already know that she appears in the finale, so any stuff you leave here that really helps it out, I'll drop that there and then take all the credit. Now, as always, the title screen spoils who's in it, and not only do we have the new actors, but we also have Cumberbatch. Cumberbatch is Cumberbatch, and we also get one of my favourite actors in Clancy Brown. Man has returned to voice Surtur once again, and though it's only one line, I did quite appreciate it. We then cut to a cornfield to see what's one of the staples of Native American food. However, beyond that, the Dinio Navajo symbolically held up corn as a symbol of sustenance and life. According to Utah.edu, this was one of the 4 sacred plants that was said to be given to the Dini, as corn provided both food and medicine. The site also says that eating corn brought clearer thoughts, and it also unlocked new knowledge. The idea of new knowledge is represented in Kahorri, who discovers the Tesseract and it takes her somewhere else. As she runs through the forest alongside Whaaaaat, who stumbles across the grounds of an old battlefield. Now, not to get all Pet Cemetery on your mate, but right, Native American burial grounds are obviously used in horror a lot due to the superstition around them. The overlook in The Shining was said to be built on one, there was Poltergeist, and of course the aforementioned Pet Cemetery, which is somewhere I don't want to be buried. Now, I know it's a stereotype, but these stories have basis, and because the skeletons here were never properly buried, the land's said to be cursed. Again, try not to be ignorant, but I am an idiot. Now, Kahorri talks about the lake there, and how the people fought to gain control of it. This is because the legend says it has the power to transport those to the sky world, and the Tesseract, of course, also houses the Space Stone. This allows one to travel to any point in space, which is why Thanos was able to do it. The Tesseract itself actually has powers linked with black holes, which is why the portals also appear like that. Black holes are also the key to travelling in the multiverse, which is why they were brought up so much during Loki. MT's done a big video talking about them all, which I definitely recommend that you check out. There's lots of stuff apparently going to be involving them in the future, so that's definitely the perfect video to brush up on them, and you should probably go there instead of staying here. Either way, upon returning home, they see it's been ransacked by colonizers who chase the pair until they find the lake. Turns out the one above was a decoy, and the real treasure lies beneath the surface. Kahorri is shot and then sent into it, which is when the Tesseract draws her in. Rivers are often seen in legends as being mystical, which is why they get used in stories a lot. The One Ring was discovered in one, Excalibur was tossed into one too, and beyond that they can also be a place of rebirth. This is why baptisms were carried out in them too, as they washed away the sin so that one could start anew.
But I'm not a rapper.
Here Kahorri sucked into the Tesseract before being shut out due to the Space Stone's ability to send its users away. A blue portal also opens up in the sky, similar to what we saw during the Avengers. Kahorri then arrives in the sky world, where she comes across those that were sent there too. It's likely that when Surtur struck it, it cracked the cube, and since then it's let out waves of Space Stone magic. In the comics, the Cosmic Cube was a weapon used by the Red Skull that, when fractured, started to change reality. Though they changed it for the movie in order to house an Infinity Stone, I wonder if they looked at that for some of the inspiration. We of course also have Captain Marvel, who shot the thing in order to get powers, and this, like Kahorri, washed her in its glow. The skill set is slightly different though, but you can see how it washing you can give you certain abilities. Now we learn that Kahorri's ancestors travel there, and can even see images of them in the constellations. Constellations have often been used to tell stories, with ancient civilizations using them for the basis of their myths. We learn that people disappeared when going to the lake, and it was deemed cursed to stop people from returning. However, these people, they simply moved, and the civilization's been imbued with Space Stone magic, which we see them performing. In Infinity War, when Loki went to stab Thanos, you can see he held back the knife by using Space Stone magic. This is why we can see the blue on the blade, as it shows that's what's controlling Loki. Now this is why they're able to fish the river, and we get given the grand tour by a character named Tesseract. These people haven't been able to tell those back home because they haven't been able to get back, but hey, to be fair, I wouldn't want to go back and tell them either. Give it all to me. The land is a paradise and they don't age or get sick, plus you know this is a guy that always hits the thumbs up. This also explains how Kahorri was able to survive the gunshot and heal up as quickly as she did. However, Kahorri worries about life back home, and we see that the village isn't doing too well. Attacked by Conquistador Gonzalo, we then see as the village burns around them. He also mentions Queen Isabella of Spain, who pops up later on, which states this is roughly the end of the 1400s or potentially the start of the 1500s. Hearing of the Fountain of Youth, this is what they're here to get. Now back with Kahorri, Tesseract asks what kind of clay she's made from when we see her mastering her abilities. There were some that believed the first humans were made from this, which came from the story of Popol Vuh. He also mentions how he's got some turtle within him, and there were lots of Native American myths that were based around these animals. Kahorri says that she has some wolf in her, which makes me think this might be playing off the coyote and the turtle. This is similar to our rabbit and the turtle race, which is why Tesseract is slower than she is. He just wants her to stay behind, whereas Kahorri is desperate to get home. Many have tried, but none have made it out, and those who lived here have settled and made the most of it. They continue their rituals though and carry out hunts in which they grab the fruit off the back of the planet's native animals. She ends up flipping one over her head, which I wondered if it was riffing off Peggy doing it with the car. Obviously she's the bloody best, and back on Earth we see as the soldiers treading to the waters. Taken to the paradise, we see as Kahorri's finally happy, and even get a moment riffing off Titanic. However, the piece is broken up by the arrival of the troops, and I was wondering why they didn't have the powers, but maybe they just didn't know how to use them yet. Kind of explained it to myself there. The ending explain guy is giving himself his own ending explain. Now we see she berates the others for losing their way due to living in paradise, as she sees it as neglecting the people back home. Pulling the portal down, she decides to return there, with the others questioning whether they should leave the piece they've found. Back on Earth, we catch the Native Americans getting sent towards the ship, where it is most likely that they would be enslaved. Now, not to stick up for Isabella, mate, I'm not trying to be a white knight for her, but according to the history books, she was actually against Native Americans being used as them. She actually ordered the return and arrest of Christopher Columbus because of his position on it. However, the people were forced to be classed as subjects of her, which again was against their will. This meant she could claim whatever she wanted and ravage the land for her own benefit. Again, mate, if you feel I'm wrong on this stuff, just drop it below and I'll try to not let my fragile little ego get too offended. Now, Kahorri storms the beach and shows off her new abilities, but the cannonballs prove to be more than the bullets. However, the Sky People arrive inspired by her speech and decide to help out against the invaders. The people are saved, and though Kahorri could have lived in the peaceful lands, she decided to return home and take the fight to them. Cut across to Spain, where we catch the Queen being told her forces have failed to conquer the New World. At this point, Kahorri and Co step out the portal like Thanos in Infinity War and tell her that they just want peace. The throne is destroyed as an example, there's gonna be no more war, and in the end it's all coming up Millhouse. For now! But then Supreme Strange, he shows up and ruins it all and says that he's been looking for Kahorri. What happens next, we don't know yet, but it's likely going to take us into that finale. I'm guessing that the Peggy stuff's going to play off there too, and I am interested to see where it's going to go. Now tomorrow, MT's going to be doing the video because I just haven't got the time to cover it because of Christmas. Don't worry yet, man's going to smash it. And what do you mean his videos are better than mine? You what? Anyway, I hope to see you back then, and I'll be back for episode 8. Please drop a like on the video, and if you want to support the channel as a member of the Spoiler Side Squad, then please click the join button. You'll get early access to videos every week, and it goes such a long way to helping us out. We want to get some heavy spoilers merch. We've also got our t-shirt line located below the video that will let you pick up all kinds of tops like our Theory Time one, House of Dragons stuff, Marvel tees, and a lot more. We drop new designs on there all the time too, so definitely keep an eye out for them, and thank you for all your support. Now if you want something else to watch, you've got yesterday's video on screen right now, so definitely head over there right after this. By the way, huge thank you for sitting through the video. I've been Paul, and I'll see you next time. Take care, peace.